Hey guys, this is Fan Confessions, the channel of two friends, two fans, and the K-Wave. Hi, I'm Lisa.
I'm Stephanie.
And welcome to the place where we share our love of all things K-pop and our personal experience as fans.
So I think Lisa and I are a little bummed out that there's a show we've been watching for, I don't know, it feels like it's been going on for a couple months. But Kingdom has been airing for us every week. So we've been able to watch some of the greatest boy groups, get to do some competing against each other in a television series and a survival show. Or I guess I call it survival show, but no one really got kicked off, did they?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, there was never even the specter of you're gonna get kicked off, but it was sort of like the battle royale of who comes out on top at the end.
Yeah, and I mean, it was kind of interesting to think about it that way, because in coming and seeing The Road to Kingdom, I actually had expected that, because on that one they had a series where groups were being considered to be kicked off and were actually kicked off. So I thought maybe they would do it on this one, and they never really ended up doing that, which I mean, I'm happy with. It's like whoever wants to, they're all so good, but do you ever want to see anyone kicked off in the first place?
I will admit, this is a bit of a shock for some people, I'm sure, but I've never actually seen Road to Kingdom. I know, I'm late. I was a Queendom fan.
Right.
I got into Queendom the first iteration, and I was really, really excited, and I really dug that show, and I just sort of like missed the Road to Kingdom, but I was right in there with everybody else for Kingdom this season, and hopefully another Queendom in the future. But I will have to go back. I will have to go back because there is a reason the boys won. Oh, yeah. And the first time around, so I should really go and appreciate those performances as well. But that's sort of what we're doing this episode. We're sort of doing a bit of a rundown of this season and our thoughts and our experiences while watching the show. And I'm sure sort of like wanted to share that with all of you who I'm sure have been watching too, because it's been like blowing up YouTube every Thursday. You can't go on there without seeing a whole bunch of clips and impressions and reactions. So here we are.
It's been so hard not to be spoiled, which, spoiler alert, if for some reason you are super behind, I mean, I thought we'd be safe now. It's been, what, a couple of weeks?
Yeah, exactly.
Over. Yeah. So in case you haven't finished, chances are we're going to talk about who won and the whole thing and the performances. So if you don't want to be ruined over it, like, just don't watch the rest, unfortunately. I mean, I love you to watch the rest of our episode, but I don't spoil it.
Exactly.
Come back after.
Finish the season, come back later.
Lisa and I are thinking that we want to talk about the most shocking moment of the season. And I have an inkling feeling that we are going to say the same thing. So we're going to try and say it at the same time and see if it turns out to be true. Okay. So the most shocking moment of the season, 3, 2, 1.
SF9 move.
Yes. I think, well, I guess it's weird because it's not so shocking because the whole time they're talking about doing sexy concepts. But that one was like, I was like not prepared.
Yeah. In particular, that part of the performance where like part of the group was on the stairs doing the synchronized. I know Steph was like, oh my gosh.
No, I was not like, oh my God. I was like, Richard, did you see that? And he was like, settle down, honey. I was like, okay, I'll try. It was just surprising. And I was like, I can't believe they just did that.
I know, it was just, wow.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess it was impressive. I don't know. That aside, the fact of the overtly sexualness of the whole thing, the performance was actually super good, and the whole like concept, like I thought at first, I'm like, is it too much like what Taemin did? But they really like did a bunch of different things in that performance and made it really entertaining.
Yeah, it was something. Yeah, I agree. It was like close enough to the original that it had its original intent to the song, but you're right. They sort of like tweaked it enough to make it something unique and different. And like what they did with the concept with the dancers and like everything was really worked. And I think they really did an amazing job.
Yeah. No, and I mean, SF9, I will give them major props. They worked so hard this season. Like, you could tell. Like, they were one of the ones I think that struggled where they'd be like super awesome or like having a really hard time.
Yeah.
And I feel like they really turned it out near the end there. And they had some really good moments throughout the season. I feel like I got to know some of their personalities more. So I feel it was a good thing for them to do. So I was impressed with it. So we've had some really great moments, some shocking moments, but we should also talk about some gripes. I mean, every season that they put out of these things, there's always stuff we wish they would do better, or we would change, or what have you. And I mean, Mnet is pretty, I mean, a lot
of it's Mnet.
Yeah, it is sometimes questionable. So I guess it's sometimes fun to talk about this stuff. So Lisa, what was some of your gripes with the season of Kingdom?
So I think there was a moment where we have a bit of a group chat amongst our friends, and there was a moment where I just like, who are these so-called expert judges, and where can I go to punch them in the face?
Oh no. Yeah.
I had that bit of a moment just because, like, they're anonymous, like, shadows in the background, and I really could not understand some of their scoring sometimes.
Well, the fact you don't see anybody or hear anybody except for that one episode, which I was like, why are they doing that all the time?
Yeah, and they weren't even the expert judges; they were guest judges.
Sorry, yes, you're right.
Oh, but like, I think two of the biggest moments where I was just like, what is up with these people and do they have eyes, was when Stray Kids' performance for I'll Be Your Man by BtoB was scored so low. And I was just, that's where the punch them in the face comment came in.
Okay.
You know, like I'm big mama's stay and I just want to protect my babies. And I think another one where I was just like, what the heck is up with them, was one of SF9's performances. I think it was for Jealous, and they scored so low. And I was just like, this is amazing. Did they not see the same performance I saw? But luckily, like, after they got in like international votes and stuff like that, and like fan votes, it evened out a little bit more. But it was just like, it doesn't seem right.
Yeah. See, my whole gripe there is the points in general. I hate the point system, all the point systems. Like in Road to Kingdom, in Queendom, it's like, I don't care how many ways to Sunday you break it out to me that they get these points. I don't believe any of it. Like, I'm sorry. No. And if I have to watch you to tell me, here's where they are now, but yesterday they were here, but today they are here, and then the list keeps changing. Like, it just loses its impact or value.
Yeah, and it's so convoluted that there's no way anybody can understand what the heck is going on. So they can just like
be real.
They can throw in whatever they want to throw in, and we just have to take the word for it.
Yeah, and I hate how long it takes, that whole process of it. And I mean, I feel like Korean shows are epic on this level of announcing anything, whether it's like, I don't know, they just blow up the smallest thing into like the longest amount of time in an episode, and it just was too much every episode for me. Even just picking the order, they always blew that out of proportion too, and I think, like, okay.
Yeah, like Mnet especially, their editing, oh god, I'm the same.
Drama. It's like, stop.
Unnecessary drama, and like the fact that they like overlap episodes more than they have to because they're putting so much filler, like Steph said. It's just like, oh my god,
these episodes could be like half the length they are, or even, okay, bless our soul, I love the sports day because it was fun. But the fact that I thought it was an entire sports day and they were going to do other things, and we sat and watched them on the jumping horse thing for like the whole hour, vaulting for the whole hour, and I was like, and it was getting so unrealistic. Like, so it came from like, obviously they're all going to make it, to like, who the hell in their right mind, which I'm like, you're going to hurt one of them. And then I also saw, what was it? Someone said that, I read on social media after, no one prepared some of the groups, that it was going to be actual field day. So like I think it was SF9 all in
they were in jeans
and stuff, and I think Ateez was wearing weird outfits too, which I thought was funny. I was like, yeah, actually, and I think about it, I don't think they were actually prepared to do jumping.
Because I think like only like 3 of the groups were actually wearing like field day appropriate clothing.
Style clothes, yeah. So that was definitely a gripe. My other one, when it came to the performances, was the new trick of where they had the hand coming out and doing stuff like on every performance. I'm like, stop it. It's not. I thought it was the first time.
The point of view concept was overdone a little this season.
It was way too much. I just couldn't handle it. Like I think it made sense in one context of one performance, and then it came back again and again and again, and I was like, okay, it's lost its like.
Everybody was like, let's do that too.
Pretty much. There was actually that's another gripe I would have with the whole season, is like compared to, I want to say on Road to Kingdom, there felt like more variety of performances and the style and the way they approached it, and then I feel like this time there was a lot of the same conventions used a lot of the time, so a lot of them would use a separate room and like make it look like there's like projected on something, and then they would be like look like they're falling, or the fabric wall thing. Like I feel like there was like a couple of things that were used, which I mean, I'm sure I gotta give them like where credit's due. It's COVID. Maybe they're limited in what they can bring in and what they can do, so that could have been part of it. But yeah,
and plus it's okay, so I'll just have to say this one, because like anybody who's watched an Mnet reality show realizes that Mnet is probably the worst at doing live broadcasts. They will never be good at it, no matter what they try. But like it's always those last final episodes, and it's just like, please, can you have some more like videos in there instead of just like the like extremely drawn out 10-minute of like trying to reveal who won.
Okay, that one I think, okay, so this one takes, I don't think it's quite as high up there. Produce was worse for me, and then the one that was absolutely the worst was Who Is Next?
Oh God.
Was horrible. I remember, oh man, him saying, "Who is next?" like 6 times or more, and like in different ways, and I was like, oh my God. So
I can't take much more of this.
Yeah, so they've got a little bit better, but it's definitely tops for those announcements being terrible. Outside of that, I will say this season felt also overwhelming with dark concepts and like intense, like everyone just wanted to make something super crazy, and it's like I feel like they equate that with being entertaining, and it would have been so refreshing to see, like I feel like BtoB kind of touched on that more than the rest of the groups, but a lot of the groups kind of stayed in their vein of what they thought was successful and didn't really try anything different, and it was like between that, and then I felt like it was a lot of rearranging their own songs, and I would have liked to see them do more like either not necessarily a new song, because I know the end's kind of about a new song, but I felt like the topics didn't give them, like they were too wide range, that it didn't challenge them enough to do something different. And I love seeing them do other artists' songs or each other's songs and stuff. Like I kind of just wish there was more of that happening.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think a lot of that is like casting. Mm-hmm. And like I really appreciate all the groups that were involved this season. Yes. But I think I've mentioned this and we've talked about this before behind the scenes, was that a lot of the groups have similar colors and similar sounds. So it makes you feel like you're listening to a whole different group, but it's a very similar kind of sound. Yeah. Like kind of like heavy and like sort of super like exciting and stuff like that. And that's why BtoB was so refreshing.
Different color.
And Ikon has their own very distinct sound and concept, and they thankfully stuck to that and didn't try to be too much like the other ones. And SF9, I think, was bit different.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I love Stray Kids, I love Ateez, I love the Boyz, but those three groups had a very similar sound, and
Oh,
they all went with the darker kind of like intense.
yes. The whole way through too. It was like not very wavering at any moments until they did the ones where they separated the groups and or not separated them but mixed them up, and
Yeah,
then
I did
we
the
saw something
collabs.
different. Yeah, which I actually, that was probably one of my favorite episodes. I thought that was really well done. Although I will say, I regrettably, I feel like there isn't, like, everyone didn't perform, right? Was that just me?
I think
felt like there's some people
there was Mayfly, which was Stray Kids, BtoB, and Ateez, and I think pretty much everybody was involved in the performances from those groups. What I found was SF9, Boyz, and Ikon. SF9 and the Boyz, so many of their members were not involved in the group performances, which I found really sad and like a missed opportunity, because I thought like
they could do something really impactful. I don't know if they thought it was an unfair advantage, but then they have all these backup dancers all the time, so I don't know what it makes a difference, to be honest. But
I know, because like instead of overdoing it in the backup dancers, like for the dance performance for the other team, they used all the members that were not involved in the other performances. And I thought that was very dynamic, and it showed good use of skills and their talent. And it just made me feel kind of like, oh, there's only like 3 people per group. And except for the vocal performance had a few more of the Ikon members joining and a few more of the other teams. But yeah, for like, they could have done something really incredible. Like the dance performance for those 3 groups was really awesome. But I think
I don't know, all of it was fantastic.
All of it was fantastic, but yeah, but there could have been more people involved.
For sure. There could have been a bigger opportunity there. Now that we're done talking about our gripes, let's talk about the biggest surprise of the season. So what was that for you, Lisa?
I think my biggest surprise, it was SF9 and their performance of Jealous. So like in our friend group, we have a couple of big SF9 fans that are like always get very excited about what they do. But I have to admit, I'm not very familiar with them. And I wasn't really sure of what they were capable of.
Yeah.
Like I knew Good Guy and their intro performance. I was sort of like, yeah, that's what I recognized from them. And I was just sort of like, eh. But when they performed Jealous, I was really surprised how impressed I was with it, because like just how well everything, sort of like the song and the new interpretation of it and their performance, I was just like, everything just like worked really well. And I think that's why, like I mentioned earlier, I was so like kind of like shocked and kind of pissed at the expert judges for not scoring them higher right away, because it's just like, this is amazing. Like, why was I not paying attention to them before?
No, definitely. I mean, I feel like SF9 is one of those that they're kind of like a little bit of a dark horse. I feel like in the K-pop world, I don't think they get as much credit as they are due, for sure. I remember when Jealous came out, and I was like, oh, I just remember thinking, I'm like, this is such a good video. The song is good, the dancing is good, everything in about it was great. So I was glad that they did it on the show, because I feel like it makes such a good stage kind of show to it. So impressed with them for sure. I think for me, I guess I have like a little bit of a not a bad shocking, but so I came into this being like a huge 18 I was like, they're gonna rock it, they're gonna like, it's gonna be awesome and whatever. And I was a little disappointed, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I love them and I think they did well, but I don't know, I expected something different somehow. And I don't know if they just stuck to their guns or what they thought the fans wanted. And maybe it's like just a lot going on that it just, I don't know, maybe that's just not their jam. Like, I think they're still super talented and they had some really amazing moments in some of their scenes, but for some reason I just thought they were going to go in and tear it all up like crazy, and it wasn't as strong as I thought they would be. So
I actually kind of agree with you, because like I'm a big Ateez fan too, and I think they're fantastic, but I think they wanted to stick with a sort of like a thread going through all their performances, and that was very much their pirate concept.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they overdid it a little too much.
Yeah, it's like it didn't need to go that far, because even their own videos didn't go that far down the pirate hole. But I mean, I guess it's because it's like all the stage, like, and I gotta think to myself, it's not just them making these decisions. I'm sure they're sitting there with other people giving them recommendations and thoughts and things to do with the stage and what's going to be impactful and what's going to be not. And there's like all this pressure. Like we saw that with the Boyz, right? The Boyz in the first Road to Kingdom, they like every episode is like they top themselves and everybody. And they got to such a pinnacle. They're like, what do we do now? And that's what we saw them do all in Kingdom. They're like, I don't know what to do anymore to make this people love it. And
it broke my heart a little bit, because they're like,
just need to relax a little, right?
I know, they were too tense and feeling too much pressure. And like, I think especially the Boyz are a group that they're at their best when they're confident.
Yes.
And I think having that pressure of coming into the season after winning last season is like, oh my God, we got to like keep our crown. And I think it was just too much pressure. And
I mean, it shows their age too. I think they're like one of the younger ones. So like you could definitely see it weighing on some of their shoulders and stuff. And which I just want to be like, oh, it's okay. Like, it was more so for fun and probably their interaction and growth. And if they maybe, like, I feel like they kind of understood that a little bit more at the end, because I think they started to come back and feel more like what we were expected to see before. But so it's kind of interesting, actually, I would say, then seeing all the groups and their path and their journey through it and how each of them took it. So like Ikon, for example, though, like, gotta love them. They just stayed true to who they are and their weird, goofy selves. And they just went in and they're like, whatever, it doesn't matter if we're on the top or the bottom. We're just gonna have fun with what we're doing and do our own thing. And I was like, that's why I love them, because that's just what they are. And you could just tell they had a blast, and it didn't friends, and like it was just
Bobby especially would just be sitting there and we'd just like laughing the whole time. You're so
like, amusing.
What was it? Their intro when he thought it was over and his head popped.
Oh yeah.
And it wasn't over yet.
Yeah. He was definitely one of those characters throughout that you just wanted to keep your eye on. And again, another great pick for TV. So I thought it was good, and good on him too. I mean, he came from reality TV where he's won the whole thing. So it's like for him to be humble and, be like, you know what, whatever, it doesn't really matter, is kind of cool. The one thing, so I did think of something that is also a surprise that Lisa will enjoy. So going into this, Richard was also an 18-y like me, but he has reminded me countless times by the end he is a stay, and a stay is like his number one now. and like that's it. And he loves Three Raja, and Han is his favorite. And he reminds me of this almost daily now. So
yes, I enjoy this. I enjoy this to like a whole level. Like, Stephanie, you married a good man.
I'm a little disappointed. I'm not gonna lie. Not that he shouldn't be a stay, but I'm like, come on, man, be true to what we were a couple in this in the beginning. To me, because he always thought, I think he was on their side pretty much every episode, because he's just like, you can't compete with their level of what they did every time. And I will say they did really bring it on the stage every time. I don't think there was a time they really didn't perform super well. To me, they always like brought it. So
yeah. Okay, so here we are. It's the end of the season. It's the end of the show. We've seen the final episode. Let's talk winners and our thoughts on how that all panned out.
Well, we know my husband's really happy about the winner. So, I mean, I guess I wasn't surprised. Like I said, Stray Kids was pretty solid throughout the entire thing. You could tell international fans was huge for them, right? It's like whenever that came into play, that always put them up. So with the point system, I don't know.
Oh no, it's the point system. We talked about that before. It's never going to be understood.
Yeah. How did you feel? Obviously, proud mom over there. I would.
I was a very proud stay mama. I was happy for them. Like though like some other stays might be like raise an eyebrow at me, but while I was not surprised overall of how they won, their final performance was actually not my favorite.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah.
I think that was my least out of all theirs. Maybe just because the song was not anything that was like, oh, that's like refreshing or different, I guess. It felt very similar to the rest of the stuff. So.
Yeah, exactly. I was just thinking that Ateez, The Real, was my favorite final. I know, it was my favorite final performance. It was so much fun.
Yes.
And like the whole.
It's what I wanted all season. I was like, where was this?
Where was this?
Entire season? Come on, guys. Like,
see,
that's all you gotta do. Whatever.
They weren't trying to be pirates last one. Right? That's why.
Yes, they were. Well, I don't know what they were trying to be. They all had totally different. I don't know. It was fun though. It was so enjoyed that. And
the little bit of.
Sorry, go ahead.
And the Satori they threw in there.
Yes,
that was very good.
And the apple breaking at the end, which I was like the epitome of like, yes, they did that. That was that should have been my surprising moment. I probably stood up in my living room when that happened. I'm like, they did it. That was so awesome. That was a perfect way to end it. I was very happy with that.
Yeah. So, but overall, I'm pretty satisfied with the results and the winner. There was no like big, oh my God, shocking moment at the end. Yeah.
Yes. The whole way they did set it up the entire time, I feel like it took away from any curiosity or tension or concern about who was going to win. I feel like it just felt super obvious because it kind of stayed the same order a lot of the time. So I don't know. I feel like if they did it more like Road to Kingdom had a lot more tension. And like, because I remember it was between, or well, hopefully this is, I guess you would know this, Lisa, by now.
I would. Well, I know the basics. Like,
yeah, but it was like between Omph and the Boyz, and it was really close. Like, I was like so in it for On and Off the whole time. Like, they were the guys I wanted to win so bad, and it was very close. So it was really interesting to watch, like more so there that it like was pretty close. Whereas this, it like you said, it took away all the excitement, and you're just like, okay, well, I'm just waiting for them to announce something.
Well, I kind of like, I knew going into that last episode because I made the mistake of going on YouTube Thursday before I watched the episode, and it was just like spoiler.
I feel like I saw it, but I get to the point where I just like blinders on and I like keep going, and I like, even if I see something, I'm like, I don't know what it was about. I don't know if it was performance or if it's winner or anything. I just keep going. I don't know. So it was fresh for me, but I wasn't very surprised at all.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't really surprising, even with or without spoilers. It was kind of like, yeah, I see that.
So end of it all, would you say like you are more than happy to watch another season of Kingdom if it comes out?
I think I would say yes. I am going to go as far as that I'm going to go back and I'm going to watch Road to Kingdom because I think I need to get to know some of the other groups that were on there too.
I think it's definitely worth it. I would say to anybody else too. I felt like it had more like moments of like, it had younger groups on it that haven't had as much stage experience.
Yeah.
It had moments that make you cry. Like, it was a different vibe on Road to Kingdom, I would say. So I definitely, anyone that hasn't seen it, watch that. And then same with Lisa will talk to the heavens about Queendom and how great that was as well. And that one was also a really fun journey. I would say actually there was less like heartstring pulling in this one compared to both of the seasons. But it's all really good to watch.
Yeah.
Super entertaining. So
yeah, I think there was a bit of a COVID effect on this season too, because they weren't allowed to mingle and mix as much as before. So I think that it did have a bit of a residual effect, I think.
Mm-hmm. Still a great show, but yeah, It's definitely affect the way they have to do TV, right?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, not to give us PTSD, but who is next? Let's talk about that. So if we wanted to talk about if we were to future cast the season 2 of Kingdom, Queendom, whatever is next, who is next? Lisa.
Who's next? It's like going back to K-pop sports night. Let's do our fantasy football-esque casting of the next seasons.
Okay. Oh, I don't know if my list is this thorough, but yes, okay. This should be we should make a fantasy league of K-pop idols.
I know.
I like this. Okay.
We could do a number on Super M with our combo.
Oh, wait. This is going to be a future episode. Let's make a super group. I love this. Okay. Okay, Lisa, let me know who is going to be on the show for you, or who would you love to see?
Okay, so we'll start with Kingdom, since we're doing a bit of a debrief. So let's go with Kingdom. So a couple of my groups that I think would do really, really well and be a good mix would be Astro, because not as strongly known in Korea as I think they should be. They are amazing dancers and singers and performers, so I think they could really blow out some really awesome episodes and concepts. Another group I think I've been sort of like kind of paying attention to is One Us. So I think they would be, plus they're like Mama Boo's Hubei, so there's a bit of a genetic traits carried on, and
they're on Road to Kingdom.
They're on Road to Kingdom?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
So you'll see them.
I will see them.
True.
Oh damn. Yes. Okay. So
there you go.
See, this is what happens when you don't watch all the seasons.
Okay. Now you'll be very excited. Yeah.
My next one is a group that I'm a big fan of, and that's Ace.
No, yeah.
Yeah. I think they would do some amazing performances, and again, not a group that's as well known, and I think they could use with some good attention.
Yeah.
So another group is a bit bigger, so they're going to bring in some viewership that I think would be NCT.
Oh.
Even if it's just like one of the subgroups and stuff like that, all very talented young men. And
Can you imagine all 20? It's like they don't need backup dancers.
23.
Sorry, I can't keep
I know, can't keep track.
Like 20 plus. Let's just say that.
And another group, TXT.
Oh, these would be huge. I mean,
yeah.
Have you noticed? So like big companies have played in here, but SM is not dipping their toe, right? Like they're just like, no. So neither. Well, I mean, Big Hit or Hybe, kind of a newer expansion, so we'll see. But I don't know if they would either. But
I was actually pretty shocked when Ikon joined in.
Yeah.
As like from YG. I was like really, because like, and JYP, you don't usually see like the big companies throw their hat into the ring for these kind of things. So I also thought, like, sort of like BtoB was for this season, we need a senior group in there to show the young guys how it's done. So I thought, why not 2 p.m.?
Oh, okay. I was like in my head thinking of a couple senior groups, and that one didn't come up. So they would be good though.
Hey, they're getting up. Yeah. They're getting up there, but I'm sure they can still throw out some gymnastic skills.
Oh, well, I feel like they're all super fit still, so I no doubts there. I feel like they would do a good show. They'd be pretty entertaining, I think, too. They've got some people that are pretty funny there.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I thought you were going to name who I was going to put in there somewhere, but you did not name any of them.
Ooh, this is even more fun.
Yeah. So, I think I've told you about this a million times though. 17. Okay. Could you imagine their theatrical skills in this? And it's like, I feel like they would be so refreshing in so many ways. Like,
They can do so much, so different concepts and pull it off
Or
spectacularly.
just tear it up. It would have been super awesome. So they were up there for me. I also think Monster X would have been really interesting. They would have been hilarious if anything. Like just chew on reality television would have been very, very amusing. And they are like coming into their own a lot more lately too. And I feel like they would have been good. In terms of like a senior group, I was like, I don't know if I could ever see EXO doing it. And then I was like, well, then there's like someone like Super Junior could be probably hilarious. I don't know if like, no, they maybe would do it. They were like on the guest panel and they've been poking themselves like into like other reality shows here and there. So maybe I could see them doing it. What else would I consider? Like you did mention Astro. I had been thinking about them for sure. Oh, there's so many that it could be good. That's why I'm like, I just want the show to keep going. Because I just love to see them all interact with each other. And there's so many newbie groups that are good, and I don't know, it could be never ending. Victon, is that how you say the name?
Victon,
really good, and I feel like they could actually do something really interesting. I don't know, there's just so many groups. Six with Jin Young, and they've been super good too. So there's so many. It could go on and on, but
exactly. We have infinite seasons possible.
And then I guess if you could have like the Masters, all Masters, if like Shani made an appearance, would be pretty.
Oh my God, yeah.
We could say is not out of the realm. He has done hosting. And Taemin was on that dance show, competition show, right?
Mm-hmm. It's not out of the realm.
True. I mean, they're probably very busy people these days.
You know, like Taemin's in the military now, so got a little bit of weight.
Future one. Maybe they'll come back.
So the possibilities are endless, and it's all very exciting.
Yes.
So there's been 2 seasons of Kingdom, and only one of Queendom, which started it all. So who would be your picks for the next season? Please, God, may there be one for Queendom.
You know what I realized when I was thinking of this? I like a lot of girl groups that have disbanded. And they're no longer a thing. And then I was like, that's really unfortunate. And then I'm like, wow, I really need to start paying attention to the newer groups more. Because even like I would have put like G-Friend in there, and now G-Friend's pretty much gone or gonna be gone, right?
Like, that was like, that came out of nowhere.
So disappointing. So like A-Pink. I think we've talked about them. I think they'd be a good like higher up there, like older group that could have kind of like the AOA feel. Maybe I think they would be a little bit more like, I liked AOA and what they ended up doing, but I feel like A-Pink's a little stronger, so they probably would have a stronger concept.
And a lot less controversial.
Crazy, hey?
Yeah, exactly.
So less controversy, and they've got like a lot going for them as a group, so they can be well-rounded. In terms of rookies, GWSN, I've brought them up a couple of times.
That'd be
good. I don't know them super well, but I feel like they've definitely got something about them. It's kind of crazy to think that G-Idol's already done it, so like they're kind of one of the ones that stick out that would be unique, right?
Oh yeah.
A lot of the girl groups have kind of a similar vibe, so you might have that issue again.
Yeah.
And same with Oh My Girl is one of the ones that stuck out as really unique, right? So I don't know, who's on your list?
Well, I have a few. So my big one and number one, and I think like I had to, on our chat again, I expressed this with their latest comeback of how excited I would be and like very scandalized if they're not involved in the next season of Queendom, and that is Everglow.
Yeah.
So, and it's funny, I'm a bit late in the game to appreciating the girl group, so it's funny how passionate I am about
Queendom.
I'm
like, you have a bigger list than I do, but like I just realized I'm just dated and need to spend some more time in the new stuff.
Yeah, so I was just like, it kind of surprises me sometimes how I'm so very passionate about how amazing Everglow is, and just how like their performances, like there is no like girl group choreo, boy group choreo with them. They are on the same level. You put them against any other group, male or female, and I think they would show up and tear it up.
I could
So
see that.
they are number one on my list. So another group I think would have an amazing performance, and since JYP is already involved, I thought maybe ITZY could
I was
have
thinking that
Shuin.
too just now. They would, yes. I could see it.
Their last comeback, Mafia, I dug it.
Stuck in my
Really.
head. I didn't think I was gonna like the song. I was like, this seems like kind of a silly, like the lyrics at first. I'm like, this, I don't know if I could be on board. This is gonna be one of the ones. And then I'm like, am I walking around singing the chorus and the
Yes, you are.
part all the time? Like, yeah, I sure am. So they got me. Okay.
Yeah. So definitely contenders.
Okay.
Next one is another group that I think Stephanie introduced me to, and we both really appreciate, and that's Dreamcatcher.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think they would show up really well. And plus they have a bit of more of a unique concept.
Yes,
to them.
Would add some color there for sure.
Some little flavor, some spices. So another one is like a larger group.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, again, like performance level and like vocal ability, I've been really impressed with, and that's Luna.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, and I also wanted to throw in another senior group like you did with A-Pink. I thought EXID, sorry.
Oh, if they could, so they're technically disbanded, I think.
Technically, but if
they could come back,
do a little reunion.
If they could, I would love it. That would be the best for me. I think I would be very happy with that. Or if like FX get back together.
I know.
That'd be awesome too. I don't know. You know what? Like I'm actually realizing in this conversation, in talking about the girl groups and the guy groups have a lot more staying power. Like there's so many more girl groups that are gone and continue to be gone, right? Like it's kind of unfortunate.
Yeah, it's like that 7-year contract end and poof, they disappear.
Or something happens before.
Which always blows my mind because like with the male groups, they have that hurdle of military service and those hiatus. Girl groups, you don't have that issue. So like a girl group, if you market them the right way and if they are just like the right mix of people, they could have such staying power.
Yeah.
But I think it's just all about the fan base, because like the girl groups, they focus on male fans and marketing to male fans, and like men, when they get to a certain age, it's not quite so socially appropriate to be fans of idol groups. Mm-hmm. So I think that's sort of like that kind of like the support peters out for them. I think
or like maybe they want to go and have families, right?
That too.
And it's like for women, you care about that a little bit sooner than the guys could hold on longer and do that later in life if they wanted, right?
But like it's
a weird thing to say, but I mean,
I'm a big feminist and like equal rights and stuff like that, and women are allowed to have families and careers at the same time.
Yep.
But you have to like also admit that in Korea it's still very it's a little more conservative that way, and especially for when you're a performer and a singer.
It's a hard lifestyle to have with a child, right? Like and you're gonna have to be out to have the child in the first place, and then all the we could open up a can of worms.
Yeah, exactly.
But
that's a whole different episode.
Yes. But thinking of this, another contender that could be fun is Brave Girls, since they've had this come back, right? I'd like their redemption stream. Like I love them. I was so happy for that moment, and like they've got strong hip hop power in there. They got some good. I don't know. They got good bones. They could do it.
And they're so funny and cute. I've been watching them in some of the different variety shows, and they are like such great personalities. They would bring so much entertainment to the show, and like their story itself, like the whole days away, literally days away from disbandment, and the video went viral, and they're suddenly like they're back and they're even better than ever, and they're winning first place on music shows.
Yeah. Like, that's such a nice story to hear, right? Because they work so hard, and there's some groups that just never really turns out as what they want, and it's a hard ladder to climb. So all to them, and hey, maybe we will see them on Queendom. That would be awesome. Well, I think that's all we got to say on Kingdom today. It turned out to be quite a big topic. I'm glad we dedicated a whole episode to it. So I hope you enjoyed it, and maybe we talked about some things you also felt about, and you've been dying to talk to somebody about it, and maybe we quelled that urge a little bit.
So, or if it's something you disagree with our opinions, comments.
Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye.